If you're looking for a new tablet, you don't have to get an expensive one that can cost up to $1,000 or so. In fact, you can get pretty good ones that cost under $400. I'm NJ from mynexttablet.com, and I've reviewed pretty much every tablet that has been released in the last couple of years. And here are my recommendations for tablets that cost under $400. As I said, I'm reviewing almost every tablet that gets released, so if you want to know more about the tablets on this list, check out the reviews on mynexttablet.com, or on this YouTube channel I've got video reviews about all the tablets I'm listing here. Also check out the link in the description, there I've got a text version of this video, and there you will always find an up-to-date list, because pretty much every month new tablets get released and we're going to review them, and some of them cost under $400, so this list will be updated regularly. The best tablet that costs under $400 right now is the Apple iPad 8, and that's mostly because of the Apple A12 Bionic processor. That chipset is faster than all other tablets on this list, and that makes the iPad 8 a fantastic gaming tablet, but also a great tablet if you need lots of performance for other tasks. For example, if you want to edit photos in Adobe Photoshop, or if you want to edit videos in programs like LumaFusion. Together with the Apple A12 Bionic chipset, we get 3GB of RAM, and you can choose between 32 and 128GB of internal storage. The iPad 8 is running iPadOS, of course, and that one supports fantastic multitasking now, and you can use lots of professional apps like Adobe Photoshop, but also like Microsoft Office, for instance. And this can also be a great office tablet. The screen has a diagonal of 10.2 inches, and it's a pretty nice IPS display with a resolution of 2160 by 1620 pixels. Now, there is one downside with this screen. It's very bright, but it's not laminated. That means there's a small air gap visible below the touchscreen and above the IPS layer. That's a bit annoying, but that's the only big downside of this tablet. We get a fingerprint scanner and two pretty good speakers. Now the speakers are on one side only when you're holding it in landscape orientation. So if you're watching a video, the sound comes from just one side, but these two speakers are pretty good. The design is very nice as well. It feels high-end, but it looks a little bit old because the basic iPad design hasn't changed a lot recently. You can use the iPad 8 with the Apple Pencil, the first generation Apple Pencil, which is fantastic for handwriting and so on, and you can get an official keyboard cover as well. And that keyboard cover is a great travel keyboard. But if you want to write at home, for example for homeschooling or so, I would suggest to get a proper big desktop class keyboard, and then you will be able to do lots of text editing and so on with the iPad 8 comfortably. The next tablet on this list is the Samsung Galaxy Tab S5e, which is a fantastic Android tablet, even though it's about 2 years old already, but I can still comfortably recommend it because the biggest highlight of this tablet is an AMOLED screen in this price range. It's also a very premium looking tablet with a nice design and great speakers. Now the performance is not as good as of the iPad 8. It has a Qualcomm Snapdragon 670 chipset, which is fine for pretty much every game, but you won't be able to play games like Fortnite with epic settings or so. But gaming performance is okay. We get 4GB of RAM and 64 or 128GB of internal storage. Now, thanks to updates, the Galaxy Tab S5e is running Android 10, and it does support the Samsung DeX desktop mode, which kind of transforms Android into a desktop operating system, which makes it easier to navigate with the keyboard and a mouse. You can get an official keyboard cover here. Multitasking and so on works pretty well on the S5e thanks to the 4GB RAM, and the processor is fast enough for that as well. The biggest highlight is the 10.5-inch AMOLED screen with 2560 by 1600 pixels. It's a very nice screen with good contrast and saturated colors, and because of the screen and because of the 4 great speakers, this is a great tablet for watching movies on Netflix or on YouTube. It's a really nice entertainment tablet. It has other premium features like a fingerprint scanner and a very slim metal body. It is really premium feeling, and the design looks much nicer than the iPad 8. However, while you can get an official keyboard cover, there's no pen support, at least no active pen support. The S Pen does not work on here. If you want to have an Android tablet with a stylus in this price range, you should get the Samsung Galaxy Tab S6 Lite. This is quite a bit cheaper option than the iPad 8 because the S Pen is included here. It's not a gaming tablet either. We're getting a Samsung Exynos 9611 chipset with 4GB of RAM, and you can get versions with 64 and 128GB of storage. You can play most games with medium to low settings, but not with very high settings, at least not demanding games. It's running Android 10, and Samsung promises to update it for 3 years in total, so I'm sure it will get Android 11 and Android 12. Now, it does not support the Samsung DeX desktop mode, only the S5e does, but it has lots of features for the stylus, like Samsung Notes and the Air commands. There's a screen off memo feature. The stylus really works well on the S6 Lite, which, like I said, is included and is really well supported on the software side, especially for handwritten notes. We're getting a 10.4-inch LCD screen with a resolution of 2000 by 1200 pixels. Now, this is a good screen, but the displays of the iPad 8 and the S5e are better. It does have a metal body, but it has 2 speakers only and there's no fingerprint scanner or so. Next on this list is the Lenovo Duet Chromebook, which is a fantastic tablet for students, especially if you want to save a bit of money and if you want to have a pretty good keyboard, because the keyboard with the Duet Chromebook is included, and all of that usually costs under $300 actually. Now, the Duet Chromebook is not a great gaming tablet or so. It's running a MediaTek Helio P60T, which is fine for office work and so on, but not for demanding games. We're getting 4GB of RAM, and you can get 64 or 128GB storage. Now, one of the highlights of the Duet Chromebook is Chrome OS, of course, which is the operating system. Now, if you live in the United States, I'm sure you're a bit familiar with Chrome OS for the education market, but if you are outside the US, maybe not that much. Well, the biggest highlight is that we get a full desktop class Chrome browser, including all the extensions you might be familiar with from Windows, for Chrome for Windows or for Chrome for macOS. You can also use Android apps thanks to the Google Play Store, and Google promises to update it for 8 years. Now it's almost 1 year old already, so it will get updates for another 7 years. The screen is 10.1 inches in size, and it's a pretty good one with a full HD resolution, but again, not as good as the S5e screen. Now, the build quality is pretty good, but it's not super premium feeling, and it does not have any premium features like a fingerprint scanner or amazingly speakers or so. Now, the keyboard is included, and while it's made of plastic, it works very nicely. Like, I was able to work with it really nicely. You can use it with a USI stylus. I tried the HP USI stylus, which I wasn't a huge fan of. Now, some people said that the Lenovo USI stylus, which I wasn't able to try, works better. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend it as a stylus tablet. If you want a pen, I would get the Apple iPad 8 or the Galaxy Tab S6 Lite. This is more of a tablet if you want a keyboard, if that is the more important feature for you. But yeah, you can use it with a pen too if you need to. Now, if you need Windows, and really only if you need Windows, you can get the Lenovo IdeaPad Duet 3i that costs under $400. Now, the performance is not amazing. You can get versions with an Intel N4020 or with an N5030. Now, the N4020 costs under $400, and that one is really only fast enough for like basic office work and so on, if you really don't need much performance. And even the N5030 is not that great. You can also get 4 to 8 GB of RAM and a 64 or 128 GB internal storage. Don't get this as a gaming tablet, and also not for more demanding tasks like Photoshop. This is really just for basic performance stuff. The screen is pretty nice, though it's a 10.3-inch Full HD screen, and it's running Windows 10 in S mode out of the box, which means you can only install apps from the Microsoft Store. But don't worry, you can change to standard Windows 10 Home for free with just a couple of clicks. Now the design of the tablet is really nice. We're getting a pretty good kickstand on the back, and I also like the keyboard cover, which is included like with the Lenovo Duet Chromebook. But here the keyboard cover is another feature because it has Bluetooth and a separate battery built in. That means you can use the keyboard while it's attached to the tablet, but also while it's detached. That can be very nice if you're somewhere with very little space or so. Now Lenovo says they're offering a version with the pen as well, but I haven't tried that pen, so I can't say much about it. Last on this list is the Apple iPad mini from 2019. Now the performance is similar to the first tablet on this list, the iPad 8, because it has the same chipset. But this iPad mini has been released in 2019, and rumors have it that Apple will release a new version in just about a month or so. So I can't really recommend the iPad mini right now as a new buy, but if you can get it used, then I think it's a great choice. But maybe wait a month or so to see what Apple will release with the new iPad mini. Well, the 2019 iPad mini has the Apple A12 Bionic processor, which, like I said, makes it as fast as the iPad 8. You can play pretty much every game on here, and it's still a great gaming tablet. It has 3GB of RAM, and you can get versions with 64 or 256GB of storage. Like, the performance here is really, really good. It's running iPadOS, of course, including great multitasking and so on. You can use apps like Photoshop. And yeah, it has a 7.9-inch IPS screen with a Retina resolution of 2048 by 1536. And in this case, the screen is laminated. Now, it still has the old design, which looks a bit old, but it still has the Touch ID fingerprint scanner, which works great. You can use it with the first generation Apple Pencil, so if you are needing a small little tablet for note-taking or so on, this is a pretty good choice. At least until the new iPad mini gets released. Alright, these are the tablets under $400 that I can recommend right now. If you have any questions, please feel free to write them in the comments. And like I said, check out the link in the description because new tablets are being released constantly, like the new iPad mini will be probably. And I'm also still in the process of reviewing the Lenovo Tab P11, which might be at the end of this list soon. I'm not exactly sure. The Samsung Galaxy Tab S6 Lite is the better choice if you need a tablet with a pen, but the keyboard looks quite interesting, so it could be an interesting alternative to the Lenovo Duet Chromebook if you want Android instead of Chrome OS. But I couldn't try the keyboard yet, so that's why it's not on this list yet. But yeah, subscribe to the channel for the final review of the Lenovo Tab P11, which I hope to have out pretty soon. I'm Andrzej from mynexttablet.com. Thanks for watching and see you next time.